the Quinn Marr Show.
This show is brought to you by Bing Pot Trivia. How many times have you been to a trivia night where it just felt like somebody reading questions? Well, Bing Pot Trivia prides themselves on bringing high-energy, dynamic hosts to every event. The show leans heavily on visual elements. Their questions are designed to make you laugh or roll your eyes, while also challenging your knowledge on pop culture, high school science, culinary arts, and everything in between. Their typical show runs 5 rounds, including a photo round, general knowledge on pop culture, riffs on different game shows, absurd 50-50 questions, and a super sweet music round. Check out bingpottrivia.com today to book your trivia night. Again, that is at bingpottrivia.com. Tell my boy Danny that your friend Quinn sent you. All right, let's get on with the show. My next guest is a graduate of one of London's most prestigious schools. Born and raised in London, but then he moved and grew up in Saskatchewan. Random, I know. We'll get into it. He was also part of one of my favorite Disney Channel original movies, Camp Rock, playing the famous Uncle Brown of Shane Gray. You may have also heard of his famous actress mother, but again, we'll get into that. It is my pleasure to welcome to the Quinn Marr Show, all the way from a hotel room in Belgrade, Serbia, Daniel Fathers. Daniel, what is going on?
Well, first of all, for the record, Quinn, thanks for having me on the show. And it is a hotel room in Serbia, not a prison cell in Serbia.
Yeah, hey, that part's important. I should have mentioned that part.
Yeah, we have to clarify.
So,
no, I'm good, man. How are you? Thanks for inviting me. This is going to be fun.
Absolutely. I'm great. I appreciate you coming on here, making the time. Before we get into just like your career, what the hell are you doing in Serbia?
Well, my career.
Yeah. Okay. Hey, makes sense.
They flew me out here, buddy.
Yeah. It's crazy.
Yeah. Early this morning. Yeah. I just booked. Well, we can get into what I've been doing recently in a bit, but yeah, no, I just booked a new job on a series, so I'm sort of coming in doing an arc of about 4 episodes on a sci-fi series called The Ark. Now, I did sign an NDA, but I'm pretty certain I'm allowed to say that. But anyway, whatever. I'm sure it is.
Hey, whoever you sign it with will never see this, so I think you're safe. Trust me.
Right. Okay. Anyway, it's called The Ark. It's for Sci-Fi Channel back home, and I think it's a co-production, US, Canada, UK. Yeah. So anyway, that's what I'm doing here. Doing that, and first day on set tomorrow.
Nice. Wow. First thing in the morning?
Yeah, first thing in the morning.
Okay.
First thing in the morning. Just for, it's not viewers, is it? Your listeners.
Yeah.
This is the life of an actor. My alarm went off at 2:15 a.m. this morning, Quinn, for a 3:30 pickup to drive me to Heathrow and then to fly to Serbia, be here, and then I got almost the same thing tomorrow on set. I'm just saying.
How long a flight is it? Probably not very long.
No, 2.5 hours. Everywhere in Europe is 2.5 hours.
Yeah, you know what? I've never been to Europe before. I actually only just went to the States for the first time recently, and I was telling someone, I'm like, it's crazy about Europe is like once you get over there, it's so easy to go everywhere around there.
Yeah, it's kind of cool in that way. There's so many different countries, so many different languages, so many different cultures. And from London, everything is 2.5 hours. You can be in Spain, you can be in wherever. Helsinki, Spain, Serbia, Poland, everything's 2.5 hours.
So cool. Like that's the opposite of
2.5 hours.
It's the opposite of Canada. You could go for 2.5 hours, not even halfway where you're trying to get to.
You haven't even reached the 7-Eleven in Canada.
Exactly.
Honestly, I know. I grew up in Saskatchewan.
Let's get into that. So first off, I read that again. You were a graduate of London's prestigious, the Guildhall School of Music and Drama. Let's get into that because your mother's also a graduate of that as well. So like, what is it? So was it like an elementary school type of thing? Like what was that?
No. Okay. So the Guildhall. So England is look, in theory, actors are supposed to be trained in a craft, right? Now, there's a lot of actors that aren't trained, especially the sort of the child actors, and they learn on set. right? They learn professionally. But if you're not fortunate enough to become a child actor and a big star, like some of the camp rockers and those guys, which I'm sure we'll talk about, then yeah, you go to drama school. After high school, it's sort of university level. So in fact, you can actually get degrees, etc. But yeah, my mother went to so they call them the big five, but it's really the big three is RADA, which is the Royal Academy of Dramatic Arts, the Guildhall, which is Guildhall's School of Music and Drama, and Central School of Speech and Drama. Those are the big three. That's like getting into Yale or Harvard or Stanford or Princeton, those so Ivy League schools for drama training. And a huge lot of big stars have come out of there. So yeah, my mother graduated from there, I think in 1960 or 61 or something. And then in fact, I'm named after her favorite acting teacher at the Guildhall. His name was Daniel Roberts.
No way.
A lesser known fact.
Wow.
Yeah. So and so I didn't actually go there for acting because I was a child actor originally. And then I went back into it when I was an adult in my early 30s. And then I trained mostly, and he's just passed away literally 2 or 3 weeks ago. I loved him. He was my mentor, David Rotenberg of the Professional Actors Lab in Toronto. He trained me in sort of modern day screen acting, North American screen acting. And he's written a book called Act, the Modern Actor's Handbook. So get that. If you're an aspiring actor, especially in screenplay, screen acting, for sure get that. Anyway, so yeah, and I took classes, but I did actually go back to do a master's level, a postgraduate certificate in performance teaching, because as I'll say, a reasonably successful screen actor, people kept coming to me and say, can you help me with the self-tape? And what are you doing? And agents would send me clients that have just come from the stage and, they're too stagey and theatrical. Can you sort of tone them down and teach them the sort of the modern day North American way of screen acting? And so I would mentor these up and coming screen actors, and just word of mouth just kept getting bigger and bigger. It's not what I do for a living. Predominantly I make my living still as an actor, and I'm very privileged to say that. But I really do actually love doing what I do and giving back to the arts community. And so I was doing a TV series. I had a sort of a 5-year option for Amazon, The Dark Tower, Stephen King's novels. And Glenn Mazzara was the showrunner. He was the showrunner on The Walking Dead and Damien and The Shield. He became a really good friend of mine and mentored me in screenplay writing. Anyway, I was supposed to be working 6 months, shooting in Croatia, which country next door, and then and 6 months off. So I applied for a postgraduate program in performance teaching at the Guildhall, and I got in. And so I did that for a year. I did a master's in performance teaching. So that's how I graduated from there.
Oh, that's really cool. That's crazy that, and I just love how it says one of the most prestigious. Like that's how it was an amazing school.
Yeah. No, it's the Guildhall is like Yale and Harvard of drama schools.
Yeah, that's awesome. I do want to go back a little bit. So growing up in London, like for you, obviously like being in such like a showbiz family, outside of that, what were your main interests and hobbies as a kid?
Yeah, that's a very cool question, because honestly, I didn't want to be in the family business.
No way.
No. My younger brother was the child actor. I would go along to auditions, and I was totally into sports. I wanted to be a professional athlete. My big sports were rugby and track, and both of which I reached a national level at schoolboy. Wow. In the UK under 16, and went to the nationals in 400 hurdles, and I think came 5th in the finals. And I could have gone on and potentially, maybe gone to the Olympics or at least run for my country anyway. But I trained as a dancer when I was
Rugby
16.
is such a crazy sport.
And
Holy, I
rugby-
have one of my buddies played in high school, and I'd go to his games. It's no joke.
Yeah, no, exactly. So I played for Saskatchewan. I
Nice.
captained the under-19 Saskatchewan team when I moved over when I was a teenager, and also on the men's, the first 15. And but both of those sports were amateur at the time. They weren't professional. So I had to sort of get a job. So, and I didn't want to be I didn't want to be an actor. I went to uni. I mean, I finished high school in Saskatchewan. I did the last 2 years, 11 and 12. I was in, I played Fagin in the high school production of Oliver. I think I only got it because of my accent. I literally just got off the boat.
Eeny, meeny, miny, mo. The kid with the accent.
Right.
Yeah.
So anyway, I think, anyway, I enjoyed that. I went to uni. Went to University of Regina for 1 semester to do a drama, and I went, no, I'm not doing this. No, I'm not into this kind of stuff. So I played rugby. I played semi-professional rugby. Got into sales, and then I moved to Toronto and was in the corporate world. Oh, I was in the army as well. So I was in the militia, the Canadian Armed Forces, in the Royal Regina Rifles, and part-time, full-time, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
And so acting was not my thing at all. I was very shy. I was forced into it when I was a kid, and I wanted to, I don't know, earn lots of money and do other things. So, which I did until I was about 32, and then I was hating life. I was very successful in sales. I worked for IBM and e-business services and Bell Canada and British Telecom. I did really well, but it just wasn't. I found out sort of it wasn't me, and so I started reading. A bit of poetry, and then started reading plays again. And then somebody said, "Well, why don't you audition for an Amdram?" I think Galt Little Theatre is what it was, and which is in Cambridge, Ontario. So I auditioned for that, and they were doing a British farce. And again, I think I got the role because of the accent. All right, I'll take it. And then there was an audition for Theatre and Company, which is a professional company in Kitchener-Waterloo. And again, I think the accent, because it was a sort of a Renaissance piece, and I got that. That was my first paid gig. And then somebody said, "Well, why don't you just try it?" So that's what I did. I got some headshots. They were really bad headshots. You can find them on the internet, I'm sure. And I got an agent in Toronto, and I was still in the corporate world, but I went back into sales so that I could, because a lot of the sales guys were sneaking off. They do all their sales calls, and they get their numbers for their bosses, and etc. And then they would sneak off playing golf, or they go out to lunch or dinner with clients. And I snuck off and did acting classes. Wow. So I would get up early in the morning, 4 o'clock in the morning. I would do all my sales, forecasts and paperwork and all of that kind of stuff. And then I'd meet all my customers, do my presentations, make the sales. And then in the afternoon and the evening, I'd go to acting classes. And I just worked my way up that way until my acting career actually sort of took off. And it was clashing with my business career. So I had to give up the business career.
How long were you doing the business? Like how long were they clashing for?
I would say about
you were able to go into the acting?
2.5 years.
Wow. That's a long time.
Yeah. Well, I was starting off. So, I had to get my union card, my actor card. And in those days you had to get 6 credits sort of, and permits. So it took a while to get your union card. I think I got that in a year. So that was pretty good. Yeah, it was good.
So Actually, I'll start with this one. So the accent thing. So because it's funny you mentioned that. One of my favorite actors right now, and has been for the last couple of years, is Tom Holland. And I've seen a lot of interviews about him and how he is able to change his accent so easily to different, like whatever it is, nationalities. And I read somewhere that someone had said that basically you're one of the best of going from a British to an American accent. Have you heard this before?
I haven't heard anybody say that.
I read that. I read that somewhere earlier.
You read that about me?
I did.
I'll take it.
What for you? When did you learn to be able to switch accents? And the other one is, how difficult is that for you?
Yeah.
Or what was it for you?
Yeah. No. It's a good question. Do we bleep out swears?
No, you can say, you can swear. You can swear.
Because I know it's Camp Rock, but all the Camp Rock fans, they're grown up now.
Yeah, they're like me,
right? You're in your fucking 80s.
Anyway, I feel like it.
So originally, when I went back into the industry as an adult in Toronto, I didn't do an American accent. I just kept my English accent to the best of my ability, and I'd always been pretty good at accents like Scottish or different Irishes and Australian. Like when I was in Mamma Mia at the Royal Alex downtown, I played in Australian as well as British. So sometimes I played Harry, sometimes I played Bill, but I played Bill in Australian. I don't know. I just had an ear for it, and I would mimic it, etc. But the sort of non-regional American or sort of Canadian accent eluded me. I could not, for some reason, do it. I started taking some classes. I can't remember the guy's name in like dialect coaching in Toronto. I didn't really get on with him. We didn't gel. And I tried it, and they went, "Yeah, no, you're shit. Just don't."
No way! What the hell?
Right? So I kept doing, I kept, and I was doing okay. Doing all sorts of English accents. Working class, rough, northern, whatever it was. South African, blah, blah, blah. I was making a living doing all of these different accents. And then actually Camp Rock helped me get my visa to go down to move to Los Angeles, because that's where, the big game is. Right. And Disney sponsored me. They wrote a letter and
wow.
Yeah, they were really good in that regard. And so when I went down there and I got an American agent and an American manager, my manager said, "Listen, kiddo, you got to learn the American accent. You just have to. There's so many roles. Most, even all the best English actors come over and they want them to do American. You can't just rest on your laurels of, being Uncle Brown from fucking Camp Rock."
Yeah.
That's only going to get you so far. And he was totally right. So I sought out a really great dialect coach. Her name was Claudette Roche. I think she still does it. And she was great because she was originally English. She moved to Canada when she was 7. I think English-speaking Montreal. And then so she understood the root of where my accent had come from. And then she moved to Los Angeles at the age of 21. I think she was one of the series leads in Stargate, which ironically is the same producers as that I'm doing the arc for right now.
No way.
Yeah, I know, it's kind of crazy.
Whoa.
Yeah, so I went down to her. And I think she lived in the valley, and I would go over the hills, and I spent a lot of money and a lot of time, and I just worked my ass off and just ingrained it in. And so, yeah, I would say, oh man, last 10, 15 years, I would say most of my accent work has been American. Like I work a lot of, especially now living back in Europe and back in the UK, I would say I do a lot of American productions that are shot here, and then so they're looking for authentic, North American accents. So,
right.
But recently, having said that, I would say last 2 or 3 years, I've been doing all the other accents as well. So when I was in The Witcher Blood Origin, I did Irish But I'm a bit of a perfectionist, so I like, and even when I did Final Jam in Camp Rock, I was playing a legendary bass player, right? And I went, well, I need to learn how to play the bass, and they said, oh no, it's okay, Daniel. Well, you just chunk along and I went, no, I need, because there'll be bass players going, yeah, he's not playing, right? Mm-hmm. So I actually, for the Final Jam, I went and got bass lessons, and that's my claim to fame, is I played bass with the Jonas Brothers.
That's so sick.
On We Rock. But that's the only song ever I played.
hey, it's better than having zero. With the accent thing, is American the hardest accent still for you?
No. There's a couple of British accents that completely elude me. One is Welsh. Every time I do it, I sound like an East Indian or it's just terrible.
No way, fair enough.
And then Geordie, so Newcastle, that's a tough one as well. No, American. So because I ingrained it in so much, now in the UK, people ask me where I'm from. They go, where are you from? I go, I'm from here. No. Where are you from? No, I am from here. So yeah, to them, I don't sound English at all. I'm not. I've got a sort of a mid-Atlantic accent now, I guess.
I feel like Canadian would be one of the most hardest accents to do, only because there's so many different ones. Like me being from near Toronto, I'm gonna sound completely different than someone from obviously like Newfoundland, right? Or like like more in like the country of like out in the country in Canada. It's like I'll sound way different than them.
Yeah, for sure.
It's really I don't know. Accents are just such an odd thing when you think about it.
They are 100%. I mean, look, in the UK, it's such a tiny little island compared to the. So I used to. UK, you can fit United Kingdom into Saskatchewan geographically square miles 7 times. Wow. I don't know what about Ontario, but
that's crazy.
And I think I did the math originally, and I said, the per capita per square mile, whatever it is, you'd have like between 400 and 450 million people living in Saskatchewan if you had the same population per square mile.
Wow,
which is nuts when you think about it.
Yeah.
But in such a tiny little island, they have such diverse accents.
Yeah.
I mean, not only geographically, but within the class system as well. It's just crazy.
I know, and that's a weird thing. Like, just accents in general, just they're interesting. They're odd.
Yeah, I find them interesting.
Yeah, 100%.
I always ask people, so where are you from? But these days, with all what's going on, he goes like, why are you asking me?
Yeah, exactly. They get offended. Yeah.
No, I'm just interested, dude. It's like I'm interested.
100%. It's like I mentioned about Tom Holland. Like when he first went to go play Spider-Man, I think he went to like a New York high school for like a couple of weeks, or like a week or something, to like watch them, listen to them, and everything. And obviously, I know he had a coach as well, but like just it's interesting that about like studying accents as well, right?
Yeah. No, I really had to. So I have a sort of an American Bible, and so for some English actors, I'll actually teach. I teach them sort of a non-regional American accent as well.
Right. That's really cool.
But no, there's a lot of good. Who said that about me? That's nice. I like it.
I'll find and send it to you later.
Yeah,
I can't remember but that's how I knew you did an American accent, because I read it there. So before we get into Camp Rock, I want to know, like, because like I'm sure everyone that's watching and listening is wondering, how the hell does a kid go from London to Saskatchewan? I don't see the comparisons between the two. Where did those two align for you?
It's very, very simple. So my parents were both in the industry. My mother was an actress in the West End, and my father was one of the top scenic designers for sure in the UK and Europe, but probably in the world at the time. And when he retired from actually doing it in the West End and doing all the big shows, he got a job. I think actually there was the head of drama of university used to be at the Guildhall, and there was a connection there. And anyway, my dad got a job as the head of scenic design, teaching as a professor at the University of Regina. My parents got divorced when I was young, when I was 10. And then my mother started sending me to my father in Saskatchewan, in Regina. I think the first trip I did, I was just turned 13, and I loved it. And then basically, so when I was 15, 16, I was a bit of a handful with my mother, and she had two younger ones as well that she wanted to invest. They were going to make it. I wasn't. So
you're the black sheep.
Basically, it was like I was sent to Saskatchewan, the penal colony, colony to my father for bad behavior. But actually, that sort of gave me a sort of a new beginning, and a new start, and a new lease on life.
That is so cool.
Yeah. So I did grade 11 and grade 12. That was actually cool, because if you can imagine, I was very English. You
must have been the man. You not only were you the new
right?
kid, you're a new
I
kid
wasn't
with an
even
accent.
good looking. I wasn't good looking, and all these good looking Canadian Regina guys are going, "Who the hell? We can't compete with that accent." And so I had a ball.
Not only were you the new guy, you're the new guy with an accent. The new kids at school, that was never me. I've always lived in the same place. The new kids at school are always like the most popular at first. And then you got a kid from England. That's top tier right there. That's amazing.
Yeah.
I love that.
Yeah, I kind of lucked out. So that's how I got there.
Interesting. Huh. I love that. Just still, to me, that is so, even with that explanation, it's so random. London to Saskatchewan.
I know. It was crazy. A bit of a culture shock. Like my dad wouldn't give me a ride to high school. It was like Regina, Saskatchewan's flat, right? And it's it's windy and it's colder than Ontario. I would have to walk to high school at like minus 45, and my dad would not drive me.
Oh my God.
Yeah. I came over looking all like fashionable and whatever. He took me to, I think, the Army and Navy store or something like that. And he says, "We don't do fashion here, kid. It's function." It's fucking cold.
Exactly. Yeah. Here's a toque and a big jacket. You're set.
Yeah, right?
Yeah. So
I look like an idiot, but I'm warm.
That's what my father-in-law says all the time. He goes, he used to say this to my fiance, is that it's not about fashion, it's about warmth.
Yeah.
Right.
Exactly.
She'd always want to dress nice and look good for school, but then she'd be freezing. So it's like you got to pick one or the other. You can't be both. Exactly. Right. So getting into Camp Rock. So I'm sure you had known of Disney Channel to begin with, right? Like you had heard of it, obviously. I don't think you're sitting there watching it because you were an adult, but I'm sure you knew of it.
No, of course. No, I had a daughter.
Oh, true. Right. Okay. Yeah. So then it would have been on your TV. So how did you learn about the role, or just the movie in general, just auditioning for it?
It was just, my agent had submitted me for the role. And it's, at the time, nobody except Disney and the executive producer Alan Sachs thought it's gonna make you a star, kid. It's gonna make all of you a star. Let's go. Okay, whatever.
Yeah.
I've heard that before, right? For me, it was just another. It was a movie, and it was a lead role, so that was kind of an upgrade for me. And I was working with at the time I thought, oh God, bunch of kids, but it was great. I was really grateful at the time. It was very, very cool. I auditioned, I got a call back, and I did hear, when I got the job, I was actually with my daughter at the X. I remember.
No way.
Yeah, I was in Toronto. I was in the Summer X, and we were going to do the helicopter ride, I think, for the first time. And my agent called me on my cell phone and said, "Okay, you booked it. There's an offer coming." I went, "Wow." That was just, and I knew that was one of those slightly pivotal moments that might change my life and career in some sort of fashion. Yeah. But I didn't know in what way yet.
Yeah,
but
no, for sure.
It was definitely getting to the next level for me in my career. So I was really happy. Yeah, and I heard, like, when we were doing, like, even Alan Sachs said, it was between you, Ringo Starr, and Roger Daltrey. Do you know who those two guys are?
I know Ringo. I don't know Roger Daltrey.
Roger Daltrey was the lead singer of The Who.
Oh, no way. What?
And he did a bunch of acting as well. So they wanted either real rock and roll legends who could act somewhat and had done some,
Yeah.
or an actor that could play. Anyway, I think
Wow, what a
probably,
grouping to be a part of.
yeah. I mean, look, if truth be known, I think I got the role because they were either way too expensive. It was like, okay, Rogers is this millions, Ringo's this millions. They're not available here.
Yeah.
And then as a backup, there's Daniel.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah. I can't see
fair
Ringo
enough
coming to a forest to this campsite in Ontario.
right? Yeah.
Right. That's so
Anyways,
sweet.
yeah.
So
Yes,
then with at the time, like the Jonas Brothers were popular. Like they were around for a few years at the time. Like I think they had like maybe an album, maybe. I'm not 100% sure. I just remember them being on Family Channel all the time. But for you and like, did you know anything about them? I know you had a daughter, but like, yeah, they weren't really
no.
even and especially Demi. Like this was Demi's first thing ever. So
Oh yeah. Well,
it would have been around Sunny with a Chance.
No, she hadn't done that one yet. That was
when she had a show.
She was one of the Barney. I think
she was a kid on Barney. That's true.
She was a kid on Barney, and then I think was she in the Mickey Mouse Club for a bit?
I don't think so, but I think right before Camp Rock, she had a show When the Bell Rung or when the something like that. I think it was on Disney Channel.
It was like sort of there's 100%. This was her breakthrough thing.
Oh yeah, so for you, like
I don't. There's I think I even have a credit on the documentary film.
Oh no way, the one from a few years ago.
Yeah, they never paid me for it, but anyway, whatever.
Hey, whoa! Now we got to get you paid.
What?
We got to get you paid now.
I know it's okay. You gotta give it away to keep it.
There you go.
Yeah, there was a documentary. What was it called? It was like 2 or 3 years ago, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was. It was. I think it was right before COVID.
Yeah. So, and it was cool for me because I kind of learned a bit about the sort of the pre-Camp Rock times of how hard they worked and what they were doing, and they were just kind of getting slightly popular.
Yeah.
But this like Camp Rock just went.
Oh, it changed everything for them. Same with Demi. So for you, working on that movie, and where was the camp again? Like in real life,
it was called Camp Kilcoo.
Yeah, it's in like not Halbert.
Yeah.
I can't remember where it was, but
like Gravenhurst, kind of up there.
Yeah. So this would have been because the movie came out in the summer of 2008. So you would have been you guys filmed in the fall, I'm assuming, of 2007.
So yes, yeah,
it had to have been, right? Because I think it came out sometime in the summer of 2008. So you
yeah. So I would say so summer/fall of 2007. Yeah.
So for you, because I mean, you were just surrounded by kids most of the movie. Like I think the only other one was I can't. Her name's slipping my mind right now, but the actress that played Demi's mom,
Maria Canals Barrera.
Yeah. So she was really the only other like adult on set. So for you, what was that like acting with a bunch of kids, plus like the Jonas Brothers who hadn't really acted before?
Yeah, it was great. They were like very professional.
Yeah,
all of them. That was they were top level. So whenever I've gone in and sort of guest taught at high schools or whatever, or even drama schools, and they bring it to this level, and some people make it, well, they're only kids, they're only teen. I went, no. Trust me, I've worked with kids, and they're at this level. You need to be at this level. All of them were just so talented, so hardworking, and they were like already professional. So yeah, I mean, look, Joe, the boys hadn't acted really much, so but I mean, Demi had done a bunch of acting. A lot of like Alison Stoner, she grew up on set. Megan Jet Martin, all of the Jasmine Richards, they were all really good actors. Mm-hmm. So yeah, they were just like top-notch professionals. They were just little people.
Yeah, like
the younger people.
I remember the day that movie had premiered on. For me, it would have been Family Channel because I didn't have Disney Channel at the time, and like It was just huge. Like, I think honestly, the next week I had the CD and I was playing it in my room. Like, those
Yeah.
movies like changed everything for Disney Channel. So
Well-
when was there? Sorry to interrupt, but was there like a premiere for you guys? Like, did you guys go to a specific premiere? Oh, you did. Interesting for a Disney Channel movie. I'm surprised.
Yeah, but okay, so let's backtrack on the strategy. So Disney at the time, and has been for decades, their core competency is marketing and distribution. They do good. They do good product. There's no doubt, but their genius is. So they had put it in all the teeny bopper magazines. It was all over the Family Channel, ABC Family, Disney Channel. They had basically spent a year of marketing and telling all the young people this is going to be the next thing. And so when it actually came out, it was it still had to be good, and it was good. I think in its genre it was fantastic. But that's the genius of Disney is basically programming the youth and saying this is what you're going to like next. And by the time it came out, everybody did, and
it worked.
And we also worked on the formula like High School Musical. That was a fluke, and they will admit that they just made a movie of the week, and was it the first one or the second one? I think the first one didn't do very well, but the second one, it kind of gained legs, and then they made the second, and it just blew up. And they went, oh, we're on a formula here, so let's do the next one, and then that's what the Camp Rocks were. And so they just followed the formula, and boof, it blew up.
Well, and High School Musical blew up so much that they were able to. The third one was a theatrical release. So
yeah,
the fact that they went from Disney, like that's kind of unheard of. Like having a third movie of a Disney Channel original movie be a theatrical release, you don't see that.
No,
even now, like almost that movie came out almost 20 years ago, and you don't see that.
Yeah, there was statistics. I do know this for sure, that Camp Rock was the second most viewed television film of all time history, with unique viewers. Yeah, we had 180 million unique viewers. Now, some of them watched it 10 or 15 times, but they only counted each person. 180 million globally, and I think Camp Rock 2 didn't do as well. I think it was only 120 million. But the High School Musical 2 was the number one, and we were of all time history. I mean, that's
funny. It's funny that you mentioned about the marketing thing, because I honestly, I would have been, when High School Musical 2 came out, I would have been like, I think 11 or something like that. But I remember the marketing for that. Like, I remember almost probably every single commercial break of Family Channel, I was seeing a commercial about High School Musical 2 for like probably months. It started with the teasers, and then actually gave you trailers, and they said, hey, next month, next week, blah, blah, blah. So yeah, they really are a marketing like mastermind.
That's their core competency.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah.
So
it changed everybody's lives. I mean, the Jonas Brothers, it just cemented them. Here's the claim to fame. I'm going to tell you this. Not a lot of people know this. Okay. Well, they do. So, President Barack Obama, I know, has seen Camp Rock because his daughters were that age. And he was doing an interview with Barbara Walters. Do you remember her?
Yep.
And with Michelle and the kids, and the Jonas Brothers had just played at the White House, and she said, "Oh, the Jonas Brothers. What do you like?" And he goes, "Oh yeah, the girls made me watch Camp Rock." So that's
no way. That's amazing. Hey, if the president liked it, then that's awesome. Right?
I haven't met him yet, but if I ever get the chance, I go, Mr. President.
Yeah, Camp Rock. Uncle Brown, that was me.
You have seen my work.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, there's no denying it. So after one blew up, how quick was their word, hey, we're going to try to do a sequel? What do you say?
Yeah, right away.
Really?
Yeah, once the ratings came in, it was like they had already planned it, to be honest with you.
Oh, really? I guess because the second one came out 2 summers after. So, like, you guys must have got to filming right away.
Hmm?
You guys must have got to filming fairly quickly, no? Maybe like a year after?
Yeah, it was about a year, 18 months. I do remember that when we did the final jam, it was a bit later in the year, and we went back to Toronto and up north in Ontario to shoot it. But it was we were doing the final scene, and it was actually snowing, and we were like in it's supposed to be summer camp.
No way. So then was it between takes you guys were just like chucking on your jackets and stuff?
Chugging on the jackets and then chewing ice so our breath wouldn't,
I read that. Who told me that? I think I can't remember. Someone told me that recently that that's what they do to make it look like so it's not cold outside.
Yeah, exactly. That's what you do.
So then doing the second one, then how different did that compare to the first one? Now that like the Jonas Brothers were who they were, Demi had Sunny with a Chance. Was there any difference for you? Did you notice?
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah. So first of all, everybody had become ridiculously famous globally. Like even me, and I wasn't the Jonas Brothers or literally I could not pick my daughter up from high school anymore because I'd literally get mobbed and wherever I went. And I didn't have it anywhere near as bad as the Joe Bros and Demi. They had to have entourages. So when we did Camp Rock 2, we literally, Demi and the Jonas Brothers had entourage. Don't forget, their musical careers had really blown up as well as a result. I think one sort of dovetailed and bolstered the other. So yeah, the Jonas Brothers were the biggest act in the world, arguably, at the time, over a period of 3, 4, 5 years. So they couldn't go anywhere. So when we were in the Camp Rock Disney bubble, we were really well protected. They had perimeter security 5 kilometers outside where we were filming because you'd have paparazzi trying to get in and fans and whatever. But yeah, we were protected in the bubble of the entourage. Did
you bring anything different to the second one for Brown?
No, not really. Hopefully a bit more experience and it was the expectations of it to be good were higher because the first one was so there was a lot more pressure, I think.
Yeah.
But it was still pretty. It was good, I think.
Oh yeah, no, absolutely. I was telling you earlier that I just rewatched the first and second one because I hadn't seen them in a while, and it's still cool just having you on here after watching those movies and being a fan of those movies when I was a kid. So
yeah,
no,
I guess the major difference is everybody had become very famous.
Yeah.
So the vibe was a little different.
Were there egos? Yeah, compared to the first one.
Well,
I mean, to be honest, would you blame anybody for it for the way that people?
No, to be honest with you, look, I think it's well publicized that Demi had some things going on, whether it's addiction and mental health, and I'm not judging her at all. Shit happens to a lot of people, and she had a lot of pressure, and but I think she did the best that she could with what she had to work with at the time.
Yeah,
and, I mean, she still brought it, and she had issues. Bless her, and I feel as though, I mean, I haven't really spoken to her recently, but I can empathize with what she went through. It's a lot of pressure, all that, especially for young people.
Yeah,
even for the older people, it's tough, but. And the kids are literally pulled from here to there, and they're not getting enough sleep, and they're not, their well-being. Yeah, it can. If you don't have the right people around you and you don't have the right balance, I guess the ego can get to you, and even I. Not that I'm anywhere near as successful or famous as them, but this industry, when you get to a certain level, does treat you like a little bit of a demigod, and it's really the thing you have to ward against is actually believing your own press and to try to stay grounded. I think.
Well, yeah, you got to make sure the highs aren't too high and the lows aren't too low, right? And that is so difficult to do.
Yeah. Well, I don't know. I think it's doable. I
Right.
try to just stay grounded. I'm just a regular guy who you just happen to see me go to work. That's all.
Right, absolutely. And you'd mentioned about them at the time and how much pressure there was on them. Like for the second Camp Rock, for Demi, she was doing other Disney Channel movies. Like she was doing Princess Protection Program. She was doing Sunny with a Chance. She was doing music at the same time. Like I could never imagine the pressure. And like, yeah, again, same with the Jonas Brothers. Like they're just so young and all this pressure.
Yeah.
That must have been insane.
Yeah.
Which one did you have more fun filming, one or two?
I think
It's a tough question. I know.
I don't think you can compare. They were both awesome for different reasons, but I think the first one holds a place in my heart because it was, the start of something pretty tremendous.
Yeah, no, 100%.
Yeah.
All right, well, Daniel, I'm going to let you go soon, but before I do, please, I'm going to give you the floor to promote anything you'd like, your social medias, what you're working on, things you have coming out anytime soon. The floor is yours.
Okay, all right. Well, my Instagram, I just started it again, so I need followers desperately. Nobody wants to follow an old geezer. It's just my name at Daniel Fathers. I'm doing. I just finished filming the first season of a new Arturian fantasy called the Pendragon Cycle, which is going to be really very, very cool. And did a couple of episodes of House of the Dragon.
I saw it, yeah.
Right. So I'm looking forward to that coming out. I think it comes out in the summer. And then what else did I do? The Witcher Blood Origin. That's on Netflix. So yeah, I've been busy.
Amazing, man. You never stop.
Eventually I will.
Yeah, exactly. Right. You'll retire when you're dead.
Yeah. Well, the good thing about this is there isn't a forced retirement. The forced retirement is when they don't want to hire you anymore. And
true.
And I love what I do.
Right.
I really do. And it's a journey, and hopefully it'll keep getting better. And now I'm working with up and coming actors too, which I really enjoy. So yeah, I'm starting to write and direct and produce a little bit, just short films, but that really interests me. I just love cinematic
everything.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah. That's amazing. Well, yeah, Daniel, thank you so much for coming on here. It's been an absolute pleasure. I appreciate it. I know you've had a long, long day, so go to bed. You got to be up early, so get to bed. And I'll talk to you again soon.
Yeah, keep in touch.
Absolutely. Thanks, Daniel. I'll talk to you.
And that was the Quinn Marr Show.